Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Otsego City Council meeting. Tonight is Monday, June 22nd. Audra, can you have the record show that our city attorney, city planner, city engineer are present, along with Councilmember Dunlap, Councilmember Tanner, Councilmember Lund. Councilmember Gady is absent this evening. And present, we also have our assistant city administrator and our city administrator. At this time, I'll ask you all to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our first item of business this evening is our open forum. This is the portion of the meeting where you can come to the podium, state your name and address, and limit comments to 5 minutes or less. Would anyone like to speak at this time?
Kathy Coles, 15613 90th Street Northeast. Here's this month's picture.
Mayor, another citation has been sent. And another will be going out next week.
Okay. Have we gotten any response when the citations have been sent?
I've asked for an update. I had been getting updates in the past, but I hadn't gotten a response to my last message. So.
All right. Any other comments?
Gabe Davis, a couple things. What's the city doing about all the obnoxious weeds growing, particular birdfoot, the yellow plant that's growing along all the roadways, sidewalks, walkways? It's highly invasive. I spent 4 hours spraying my ditches to kill it and my neighbor's property. What the thing does, it grows, it kills out your grass, and it produces a ton of seeds, and next year you're inundated with it. And what's the city doing about it? Is it spraying it? Is it going to get rid of it? You've got to spray it while it's blooming and before it starts to bloom.
Mr. Davis, what you said it's on what roads? Everywhere?
You've got it growing everywhere. All the way here, I pass it on Odine, the side streets coming down this way before the traffic circle, Packard Avenue, 70th Avenue. It's yellow. You can't miss it. Okay. Super invasive.
So some of those are city roads, some of them are county roads. That's why I was just.
Yep, it's everywhere.
Adam, or I can look to Nick, which Nick is Parks, but any comments on?
Mayor's staff would need to consult with Public Works to determine if there's a plan for spraying roadside road ditches. So.
Okay, because I noticed the same thing with the dandelions when we had dandelion seasons. Drive down 70th and there's just fields of dandelions. First you get a nice big show of yellow flowers. Next thing you get is a whole show of white puffy things that blow all over the place. Nobody seems to take care of it or show any concern for that.
70th Street would be the county road.
Well, every road.
No, I know. Yeah. I'm just referring to you. You mentioned 70th Street, so we can ask also the county what their plan is for that.
Okay, because my neighbor had 2 small patches of it last year. He asked me to spray it. What I found effective on it is Weed Be Gone and put it out as a kind of like a mist. It kills the dandelions and it kills anything else that's in the way. The only thing it doesn't really kill is Canadian thistle. This has got a taproot that goes down a couple feet and travels horizontally. And you can spray that sucker 3-4 times. And it keeps coming back. It just doesn't want to give up. Second question I've got is I noticed that you guys have posted a list of the new hires for the fire department that you're going to consider tonight. One of the names on there is Tina Goody, who also knows part-time Tina, who isn't here tonight either. Keeping up with it. Why, even though it may be legal to hire as a fire person, why doesn't the city have enough ethics or her to not apply for the job unless she's no longer on the council? Being she's on the council, she directly can vote for the fire department funds, fire department bills, fire department pension, anything that would also directly affect her compensation. I find it highly impractical and unethical. When I was a union steward and officer in all kinds of various organizations, the number one rule we always adhered to was, even though it may be legal, if it looks funny, you don't do it, period. Because it reflects badly on it. Now, what's the citizens going to think when they see she gets hired, if she gets hired? You know, they're going to question the integrity of the city council and the way the city is run. If it looks funny, you don't do it.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, we will close the open forum and move on to consider our agenda for approval. Does anyone have anything that they would like to add or delete at this time?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan?
on the consent agenda, I would like to bring down item 3.3, 3.11, and 3.12. We can move those under item 5.1, starting with sub-bullet F and renumber them respectively.
Anyone else have any changes?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to our consent agenda. A motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
I move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item 4.1 is Zachman Meadows second edition. I will turn this over to our city planner.
Thank you, Mayor. So the application is for Zachman Meadows. This is a 12-acre site located north of the initial development of Zachman Meadows along Cadler Avenue, north of 70th Street. It's currently undeveloped. There was a portion of a stormwater basin put on the site as part of the first phase of development. The site is within the West Sewer District designated by the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan also guides the property for future low to medium density residential land uses. The property is currently zoned A1 Agricultural Rural Service District, consistent with the city's interim land use policies. It's surrounded by mostly undeveloped property to the north, northeast, residential uses to the south and southeast, and existing and future industrial development to the west of Cadler Avenue. The applicant is requesting amendment of the zoning map to include the property as part of the Zachman Meadows Planned Unit Development District. And related to that, then for development of the site, a PUD development stage plan and preliminary plat of 43 single family lots. When the initial Zachman Meadows development was approved, this property was included as part of the environmental assessment worksheet because of the number of units and the industrial development to the south pushed over the threshold for that process. So the developer proactively looked at including this as part of that so as not to have to reverse steps and go backwards to review this now. The lot requirements for the preliminary plat are that the lots must be at least 5,000 square feet. The average here is just over 6,700 square feet. So it does comply with the requirements of the PUD district. There is one access to Cadler Avenue, so that will provide additional circulation into the neighborhood off of that roadway, in addition to the accesses available from 70th Street to the southeast. And then local streets within the development, there's two connections to Zachman Meadows to the south. And those streets are, of course, 60-foot wide right-of-way, 28-foot wide street section with a sidewalk on one side. The developer provided a landscape plan with the project showing the required 2 trees per lot, as well as the required buffer yard along Cadler Avenue. One of the items the Planning Commission added to the list of conditions was to enhance the landscaping along the north side of Block 1. The area to the north is planned for future industrial. So by putting some screening trees in at that location, can get ahead of the curve to provide some buffering for when that property to the north develops. That property would also be able to be required to provide more extensive landscaping along the lines of what the city has looked at for other developments where they abut residential uses. The city engineer completed their review of the application related to stormwater management utilities and found that they comply with the requirements of the subdivision ordinance and engineering manual. There are easements provided over the perimeter of each lot and over any drainage areas within those lots as well. There is one outlot which encompasses the creek and the wetland areas to the north side of the site. We did recommend that the stormwater basin that was developed with the first phase of Zachman Meadows also be included in an outlot and be deeded to the city for perpetual maintenance. With park dedication requirements, the city does anticipate developing a greenway corridor along that creek on the north side of the site in the future. But the depth of this property between Zachman Meadows and that creek isn't sufficient to allow space for the greenway corridor today. So we'll look to acquire that land in the future when the property to the north develops. In lieu of land dedication, this plat will satisfy park dedication requirements through payment on a per lot basis. So city staff is recommending approval of the application based on consistency with the comprehensive plan and compliance with the applicable development requirements of the city. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on June 15th to consider the application. One resident did speak with a question regarding the builder and the value of homes that would be constructed, which has not been disclosed by the developer at this point as to potential builder that will be active in the subdivision. And then the Planning Commission, of course, discussed the landscaping requirement, but had no other concerns. After closing the public hearing, they voted 6-0 to recommend approval. So for your action tonight, we've prepared ordinance 2026-09, amending the zoning map, and resolution 2026-51, approving the PUD development stage and preliminary plat. And that approval would be subject to the 17 conditions as presented.
Thank you. Does the developer wish to comment?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Kendra Lindahl with Landform, and I'm here tonight with the developer, Craig Delansky of Delansky Boyd LLC. We're here tonight to ask for approval, and while we believe that the Planning Commission's addition of the landscape requirements is unnecessary because of the code requirements for the industrial landscaping, we've spoken to the planner, we're comfortable with the conditions, and we're just here to answer any questions.
All right,
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, council members.
thank you. All right. Also, any questions or comments for staff or for the developer?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
I asked this at the Planning Commission, but would you mind explaining the setback of the 65 feet? Because it looks like there's plenty of space there.
Yeah, Mayor. So the city has Cadler Avenue designated, and it's been constructed as a industrial commercial collector street. City requires that roadway be within a 40-foot wide half right of way. The county has on their transportation plan that this could be a potential future county road extending between I-94 and the Mississippi River, County Road 39. Their requirement is 75 feet of right of way. So the city is requiring the developer to dedicate the additional 35 feet of right of way for the east half of the roadway in anticipation that that may occur in the future. City staff doesn't necessarily believe it will happen in the future any longer. And so as to not penalize this project by requiring them to dedicate the additional right of way, plus then have the 65-foot setback that would apply from the road, we've effectively reduced the rear yard setback by 35 feet. So the separation from the roadway itself is actually the same as what it would have been if there was a 65-foot setback. It's just taken up by additional right of way at this point.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, and we have two motions in front of us.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
I move to adopt ordinance 2026-09, amending the zoning map, and adopt resolution 2026-51, adopting findings of fact and approving a PUD development stage plan and preliminary plat for Zachman Meadows second edition, subject to the conditions as stated.
Second.
Motion by Ryan, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 5.1 is under public safety, fire department staffing. We have a presentation tonight by Chief McCoy.
Honorable Mayor and Council, thanks for having me tonight. Before you is a series of options for hiring full-time staff and part-time staff. We're going to start with hiring our full-time captain, Aaron Endy, if approved. Aaron's going to start in the July 6th timeframe, pending approval of all his pre-employment conditions, his physical, his psychological, his background check. We've received lots of compliments on hiring Aaron, even from those that we chose to pass on this first round of hiring captain. So very excited to get Aaron in here and get him working for the fire department.
Great. Questions regarding this one? Otherwise, a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Corey?
Chief, I just had a quick question. How many applicants again did we have for the captain role?
Was there a dozen? I think there were 12 applicants for captain.
Okay, and they had it's a couple of round of interviews, right?
Yeah, we interviewed just one round of interviews with our interview team.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, the only other question. Since he's starting a little bit earlier, when was his initial, when you were putting the plan together to hire somebody?
Mayor, Council, in the budget for 2026, under previous Director Roush's plan, the hiring of this position would have occurred sometime this fall, October, November timeline. At a meeting in February, Interim Chief Scott did introduce a revised hiring timeline to the council. You talked through that. We did show you budget impacts for going over by moving these hirings up. But again, that was discussed at the February council meeting.
Great, thank you.
I will make a motion to approve the hiring of Aaron Endy to the position of fire captain at pay grade 9, step 1.
Second.
Motion by Jessica, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Ryan.
While I respect the firefighters involved and understand that these expenditures are deemed necessary if the department continues in its current form, I continue to believe that the city made the wrong decision in creating the department in the first place. Because these expenditures flow directly from that original decision, I will be voting no.
Great. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1. Right. Next council item under, they're labeled differently on our form versus here, is our job description.
So before you is a job description for the full-time firefighter position. The next item on the agenda will be the hiring of a full-time firefighter. Originally, we wanted to hire 2 captains. We came across this individual in the next motion that we just couldn't pass up, and which pushed this forward a little bit. So ultimately, we want to hire 1 captain and 1 firefighter right now. So this is the job description for the firefighter position, which we'll be asking for hiring in the next motion.
Okay. Sabrina, any comments on this one?
No comments, Mayor.
Okay. Any questions or comments from council?
Madam Mayor, just to clarify, we're just hiring a firefighter, 1 firefighter and 1 fire captain in lieu of 2 fire captains.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any more discussion? Corey?
Madam Mayor, Chief, it looks like, reading through this, it was supported by the peer group. The pay grade was similar in size and comparisons with cities such as ours. That's true, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
Do we have a candidate in mind right now? The way it sounds?
Yes, he'll be the next motion.
Okay, okay.
Corey,
With that, Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the full-time firefighter job description.
Second.
motion by Corey, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
for the reasons previously stated on the record, I will be voting no.
Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1. Next item is to consider approval of hiring of our full-time firefighter position. Chief McCoy.
So Mr. Carlson interviewed for fire captain. We see great potential in Mr. Carlson. He's coming to us from Monticello. Aaron's also a local individual. We'd like the opportunity to mentor Grant a little bit before fall, get started here. We just feel we couldn't pass up. That's why we are not hiring a second captain, but we're hiring Grant instead as a firefighter. Extremely talented, as is Aaron, and we think we're getting the best of the best with these two hires.
Any comments? Otherwise, a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to motion to approve the hiring of Grant Carlson for the position of full-time firefighter at pay grade 7, step 1.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
for the reasons previously stated on the record, I will be voting no.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1. Moving on to consider approval of hiring of our part-time fire cadet positions.
So the last motion for hiring, I believe there's 22 candidates on there for the part-time position. Just met with our training provider today. We're still on track if all of our pre-employment comes back to start on July 13th with the training of the individuals that are not trained already. So far, we've had 99, I believe it is, candidates for this position. Our focus when we interviewed was to get local individuals that reside in the city of Otsego. We continue to get inside and outside, meaning outside the city and inside the city candidates applying. They're not coming in as fast and furious as they were, but they're still coming in. So super exciting. Back to my interview, the biggest thing I was worried about was finding individuals within the city that wanted to do this. And I am ecstatic at the support for the fire department from everybody that's applied. So before you use that list that we're putting forward.
All right, any questions or comments? I was going to say, Chief McCoy, I'm impressed. In your memo, it says 98 total applications, but it's great to hear that we had 99. I appreciate that we had residents willing to step up and serve our community.
Yeah, it's been overwhelming. I mean, it's great. So.
Okay, any questions or comments? Corey?
Madam Mayor, Chief, I'd called interim Chief Mike Scott today and asked him some questions about this, and I was just curious, kind of to the comment and open forum, what are the expectations or background that a person must have to apply for this position?
So there were no requirements when we took applications for part-time firefighter. Like I said, we focused on trying to hire people. I think we have one that's coming from Elk River. Everybody else is from the city of Otsego. So our focus was to get community members, community support. So your neighbor's a firefighter. But everybody that was interviewed got the same interview questions. Nobody got any special treatment. Everything was even across the board as far as the interview goes, and the application process was the application process. So Anybody, literally anybody could apply.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, just to clarify, you guys are picking the best 22 candidates out of the 99.
The ones we feel will work the best.
Madam Mayor,
Mhm.
another question that I have,
Mhm.
actually more of a confirmation statement. I
Okay.
guess, my understanding is if any council member has some sort of personal investment in anything that is brought to council for decision, that person is required to recuse themselves. Is that correct?
In turn to the attorney for that question.
Yes, so it has to do with, the level of personal involvement or benefit in question. The council member simply serving on the fire department is not a conflict of interest. If there was a particular issue that came before the council where their vote could potentially personally benefit them, then I would advise them to recuse themselves on that vote.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Then the motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor, I'd
Yes,
like to
Michelle.
make a motion to approve the hiring of 22 part-time firefighter candidates presented above at an hourly rate of $16 per hour.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Ryan.
over the past few years, this council decided to create a municipal fire department. Tens of millions of taxpayer dollars have been committed to that effort. The department was established under a framework that blocked residents from voting on the expenditure, despite significant public concern about its necessity, costs, and long-term financial impact. Now, after participating in creating, funding, and expanding that department through a process that excluded the public, a member of this governing body has accepted a paid position within the very organization they helped create. I'm not here to argue whether this arrangement is legal. It may satisfy Minnesota state law's technical requirements. But if the standard for ethical government is just avoiding a statutory violation, then our standards are far too low. The real issue is trust. Can reasonable citizens look at this situation and conclude public decisions were made solely in the public interest? Can residents believe there is no personal interest involved when an elected official votes to create an entity, structures financing to shield it from public vote, and later joins its payroll? Can those citizens be faulted for questioning whether the opportunity existed because of the official's authority to create it? These questions arise naturally because the situation itself invites them. Public officials have an absolute duty to avoid not only actual conflicts of interest, but the appearance of impropriety that erodes public confidence in government. When an elected official moves from overseeing an organization to personally benefiting from it, the boundary between public service and private gain disappears. You can't sit on both sides of the ledger. You can't be the architect of a public program and then become its paid beneficiary. This decision reinforces deep concerns many residents already have about the fire department. Those who watch this department get pushed forward without public input will now see what appears to be a governing body rewarding its own with opportunities generated through its own votes. Perception matters because public trust is the fuel for legitimate governance. Government can't function effectively when citizens wonder whether a vote was cast for the community's good or as an investment in a future job. The public demands more than a defense rooted in technical legality. They expect conduct that's beyond reproach and a council that respects both their financial contributions and their right to self-governance. Tonight, I hope this council reflects not only on what is being permitted, but on what's worthy of the trust placed in us by the people we serve. Thank you.
Ryan, my comment will be that this position is $16 per hour. We have somebody willing to step up to continue to serve is the email that we all received. And you all read it. And any one of us could have stepped up to continue to serve or could have at any time stepped up to be a firefighter. And none of us did. So that's my comment on that.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make another comment.
Yes, Michelle.
I'm curious to know if anybody on this council would be willing to put their life on the line for $16 an hour. I mean, I would.
Good point.
Any other comments?
Madam Mayor, Dave, would any part of this, I think, you just kind of spoke to it, but maybe could just reiterate, is anything about this unethical in your opinion?
Well, yeah, so I can speak to, there's a statute that says particularly mayors are not barred from serving on a fire department. It doesn't address other council members, but there's a lot of case law in Minnesota and attorney general opinions indicating that it is not a per se conflict of interest for a council member to simply serve on a fire department. It has to do with, like, if they're up for some kind of promotion and they vote on that, that'd be a clear conflict of interest. It has to do with their personal stake in the issue before the council. So if any council member were serving on the fire department and were on the council when an issue came up before the council that could personally benefit them, I would advise them to recuse themselves and not vote on that issue.
Sure. And Chief, Mike was saying that, in other communities, this might be phrased a little bit different what the job title is, but it's paid on call. So it's not full-time. And, would this really start the job duty until next year, or would there be training involved?
So as I stated, training is going to start on July 13th.
Okay.
If all goes well, and we get everybody wrapped up in their pre-employment. So the training will happen between now and the end of the year. And then the calls will start on January 1st.
Sure. And by that time, Councilmember Gady would not be in office anymore. Have you had in your history, your career, of any other council members who've ever served?
Yeah, when I arrived in Austin, one of the council members was a paid on call firefighter, part-time, received compensation for it, and also served their council district.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Sorry, Brian.
I would just respond to that by saying that's not the same issue that we're talking about here. I understand in other communities, they have council members that serve as part-time firefighters on their fire department. And I think that is admirable. This situation is completely different. In this situation, we had a council member who has, as I said in my comments, helped create this entire thing and is now going to be on the payroll. That's a world of difference than a council member who gets elected and decides to join the fire department, or the other way around. This did not exist before this council member joined office. That's a world of difference.
Madam Mayor, as Mayor Stockham said, it's $16 an hour. Nobody's getting rich off this. Nobody's getting rich off serving, their communities. We know that. So I would disagree with what you're saying.
I mean, if that's the case, then do it for free.
Any other comments? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1. All right, Ryan, you pulled down item 3.3 under, which is now F. Following along, right?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I oppose this action because our city is able to receive excellent service from our existing contract providers at a price point that is cost efficient for the taxpayer. By the end of this meeting, we will have spent over $22.7 million so far on having our own fire department. That amount of money would have covered more than 16 years of contracted fire service.
Thank you. Motion, anyone?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve pay application number 18 in the amount of $311,760.88 for work completed on the fire station project.
Second.
Motion by Corey, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1. Moving on to item G, which is our former 3.11. Brian?
Madam Mayor, for the reasons previously stated on the record, I'll be voting no.
Okay. I don't have their 3.1.
Get mixed up.
Which one are we on?
3.11.
Okay.
Yes, it's now G. Audrey, you following along?
Is that H?
This one's G.
This is G.
Yep, I'm sorry.
Skip H is 3.12. This is for the radios and equipment. Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Okay. We could have just named it like a different number. Corey?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the quote from DSC Communications and to authorize procurement of radios, equipment, and programming in the amount of $204,000.84.
I'll second that motion. Motion by Corey, seconded by Jessica. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1. Now moving on to H. It's item 3.12. Ryan?
Madam Mayor, for the reasons previously stated on the record, I will be voting no.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the quotes and authorize the purchase of SCBA and related equipment from Alex Air Apparatus in the amount of $245,661.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Corey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1.
Thank you.
McCoy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, we are under city council reports and updates. Our first item is Heritage Preservation Commission. Corey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The commission met earlier this month at the fire station and got a tour from Chief McCoy and interim Chief Scott. It was a great tour, and I think the commission enjoyed it and got some ideas for implementing some of the Otsego history at the fire station.
Thank you. Next is Park and Recreation. Michelle.
Earlier this evening, we did kind of an update with Parks and Rec on where we stand with the Prairie Park in phase 1 and understanding kind of the scope, what we're looking at for the potential project and the potential budget. Things are moving along. Should see more information coming soon. As far as other items, what do you call it? The park that's under construction right now.
Lily
Lily
Pond.
Pond, thank you. That is going well from my understanding, and that is looking to wrap up here in the next month, I think. If I remember correctly, close enough, good enough, yeah. And then we also have started the my favorite time of year, which is the farmers market. So that's every Tuesday. Hope to see everyone there.
Great. Next is Planning Commission. Ryan.
Madam Mayor, the Planning Commission met last week and recommended approval for the Zachman Meadows Second Edition and the R&L Carriers Building that were approved earlier tonight. They also recommended approval for the plans for the South Central Water Treatment Plant that will come to the council at a later date. The next Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for July 6th, and that will be held at the fire station for their tour.
Perfect. Thank you. Next is Public Safety. I will take that one. We had 4 residents in attendance that night with concerns over speeding on Randolph Avenue. So we spent quite a bit of time talking with that. Emails and communication were sent to both Public Works staff, our engineer was included in on that, and Park and Rec staff. So updates with that is we did put the speed wagon out. They've been collecting data on that. We are hoping to come up with some bit of resolution. The concerns are that there is traffic from the Capstone neighborhood driving down Randolph. We're hoping maybe Radford, sorry. That's what I do, Everett. Bradford. There's a lot of R's. Sorry, Bradford. Potential stop sign was some suggestions, or doing a neighborhood meeting between the two neighborhoods to discuss this further. And then that group met for the first time also at the fire station, and we did a tour. So we are still under city council reports and updates. Does anyone have anything? Okay, then moving on to staff reports and updates. Sabrina.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to note, the farmer's market is open and we are actually having a city booth this year. So we're trying to get out as much information available for residents. So we encourage you to stop by the farmer's market and then also stop by the city booth for information on city projects and other updates of communication styles. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Adam?
Mayor, Council, a few updates. Next week, I'll be attending the Government Finance Officer Association Conference in Chicago, and we'll be out of the office next week. City offices are closed next Friday, the observed day for Independence Day. And all of you should be watching your email later this week. I'll be sending out a doodle poll to guide scheduling for future budget meetings. So please watch your email for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Audra?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I do have a few updates regarding elections. We had previously taken down the candidate filing reports to redact any addresses. Those have been completed and are back up on the website. So we well within the 6-month requirement to get that done. Also this Friday, absentee voting starts for the primary election. And if voters want to vote, they'll have to do that with the envelope process until early voting starts. And the early voting will start at City Hall on July 24th. Again, if people want to do the envelope balloting, they will need to go to Wright County to do that, or apply online and it'll come in the mail. So there's more information on the city's website if people have questions, or they can call our office and ask too. And then my last notice, or last information was candidate filing starts July 14th through July 28th. Any questions?
Can you give me, so I know we had questions last time about what you had to take down. Can you give us a little bit more background on that?
Sure. On the candidate filing,
Yes.
The legislation had a change, and if there's any private addresses that were listed on the campaign finance reports, we were asked to redact that information. So the county had told us to just pull it down until we had time to do that.
Okay. So then the names are still present, just not the addresses.
Correct.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dave?
Nothing to report, thanks, Mayor.
Okay. Dan?
Mayor, nothing further to report.
Ron?
Thank you, Mayor. Mill and overlay project is complete. They striped the target area today. Only thing that would be left is some shouldering as needed in a few areas, but that project's complete.
Okay. Thank you. Nick?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Good to see you again after our 5:30 discussion. Just wanted to kind of update everyone and thank our residents for their great support in our community engagement efforts. Obviously, you know, we had our Touch a Truck event that many people attended, came out and voiced their opinions on what features and amenities they'd like to see in the potential Prairie Park Phase 1 project. So we appreciate their feedback at the in-person event, as well as the 429 responses received in our online survey, which was open the month of May. So fantastic efforts by our residents to voice what they would like to see in this potential project. Tonight, we had an overview of 2 concepts that were presented to the Park and Rec Commission last week. So there was a concept A, concept B last week. We narrowed that down to a preferred concept, which is presented to council tonight for an update. You know, many of those things, just so residents are aware, we discussed are the potential pavilion that has flushable restrooms, which is something we've heard about for several years. So we're excited about that, offering a nice, safe changing space for residents to go if they're using our splash pad, you know, any of our park amenities, playgrounds, things like that. You know, another big update is the destination style playground. So offering some sort of community focused play area that residents can come to for one central location, as well as our ball field improvements. Part of Phase 1, obviously we've tried to do improvements at the ball fields before, so we're hoping that this time everything goes through. And we're also looking to improve our Veterans Memorial, which would be a great amenity for our residents to enhance that space. And I think there's some alternates as well in this project for pickleball and our basketball court as well, for expanding those, as well as adding additional parking spaces, because this is such a regional draw for people to come visit, as well as all our residents come. This is our only community park we offer. So we're really trying to do a comprehensive approach to the Prairie Park Phase 1 project. And with that, another update, Lily Pond Park, as Michelle mentioned, is underway, and it's off to a good start. There was a little bit of a correction on the courts out there that City Engineer Widener could speak to. We found some boulders that were kind of percolating up to the surface that was causing the courts that were out there to crack up and whatnot. So we have the correct soil corrections in place, and that'll really help to make sure that those courts are maintained and playable into the future. So project's going right on schedule. So the playground is in, the zip line is in, surfacing's being complete this week, and then it's just really the site features such as the courts and trails and whatnot. So things are going very well this summer.
Nick, how is kayak rental going?
Kayaks are off to a hot start. So right now we had 4 out today, I believe. I think we have 6 out tomorrow. So it's been very well received by residents. Very affordable price points of $30 guarantees on a spot from 9 a.m. on the river all the way to 5 p.m. to return at Carrick's Landing. It's 8 miles from the river, and we encourage people to get out and use that program.
Perfect.
Nick, do we have like a grand reopening like of Lily Pond, or I guess I haven't been part of a park that's been.
We have not historically done that in the past with School Mill Park. We did not do like a grand reopening. We typically only do an event when it's a brand new park in our system.
Okay, good to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief McCoy?
Just a couple of minor updates. Trying to get Marshall Smith started next Monday. He's working through some of the items in his contract. So hopefully we can make that happen. And our apparatus arrived in Apple Valley last week, late this afternoon. They started working on them, so they'll be working on them hot and heavy again tomorrow morning. So both the ladder truck and the engine are sitting in Apple Valley and hopefully in our station soon. One of the big items that I'm going to have our full-time staff do is we need to get equipment for the trucks, and they need to decide where it goes. So we have some idea of layout based on our partners that have identical or very close apparatus. So we'll be working based off some pictures we took and from our neighbors. Try to lay them out the best we can.
Right, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Sergeant Altmans?
Nick didn't have it quite right for me. Well, we're talking about Lily Pond Park. That'll be kind of interesting, the timing on that. I think with everything new coming there, when that park, which is great, the park gets redone or a park opens, that foot traffic really explodes to that particular park. We already have some traffic complaints as it pertains to Cadler Avenue right now this year. And I know even last year we had some, so I want to make sure that we're getting out there as people come down from County Road 39 and you're coming down the hill. Some speed kind of gets up there, I think, as they kind of let off the throttle or whatever, and they're just kind of coasting down the hill, and people keep that speed up and aren't hitting the brakes like they should, especially kids on both sides are crossing the street, crossing Cadler to get over the park. So I want to make sure that if we're having a lot more kids go out there and a lot more families and strollers, people walking the dogs, that we're getting some enforcement and I guess presence. To your point, on the east side of town, as people are kind of coming through River Point and the Capstone area, same thing. We're trying to get the squad cars out there, kind of what we told the residents of, it's going to be a multi-phase thing, or there's, no one thing is going to fix the speeding problem. That's going to be a combination of maybe one thing here, one thing there, and hopefully the speeds are coming down, the volume is coming down through there. So I don't, I've still taken a few phone calls on it. I kind of told everybody, like, I'm not expecting like immediate, like, hey, well, there's no magic fix to this. Like I said, I wish I had it. I wish I could just put squad cars over there for 24 hours straight and get the solution figured out. The speeds that we've been getting on the squad cars, the radars that we have in the squad cars, again, to the point is they are seeing a squad car and they're immediately hitting the brakes before there's really even an opportunity for them to get that speed up. So again, like it's working when the squad car is there, but then the second the squad car is gone, that speed creeps up and we're not even able to catch them. Sorry, I'm discombobulated, trying to want to go over a handful of things. There's been a number of places in town, and I don't want to get real specific into it, I guess, but there's been a couple places in town and across the county where we've been spending some time. There's a few, I'll give an example. Bloomington Police Department here recently actually just came up with like a division that are dedicated to public official safety, essentially. We do on occasion have those issues in the city of Otsego. We currently have like one or two that's sort of active and kind of on the border of Albertville, where we spend some time where there's either elected officials and or other public figures that live in the area that are facing some issues. Like I said, I don't want to get into the specifics of it because I don't want to point anybody out, but where we do need to spend some time and come up with kind of safety plans for different officials that live in the area. So the reason I bring that up, I guess it was just a year and a week ago that public officials were killed in Minnesota. When that happened, I was working that weekend and kind of tried to spearhead the safety plans for the elected officials that live in our area, and that has carried over into the last week or so. That there's been a few things that have been going on, not to that extreme like last year, but we want to make sure that our officials that are in the area in some capacity, they know what I need, so to speak, from how we need to be contacted, how that needs to happen, what that looks like. So kind of working on that, and I've had a few phone calls and text messages over the last week and trying to make sure everybody's on the same page there. I think the last time I had mentioned call load, I think I said this is kind of that teeter point was 4 weeks ago that I had mentioned that, but last 30 days we'll be at 1,100 calls for service here in the last 30 days. So it's a pretty high number for us. And like I said, usually July 4th is actually our peak point. I would say July 4th, right at that day, is a huge teetering point for us. And so we're barely in, coming up on that. And so, other than that, like I said, a lot of traffic complaints that we're taking, a lot of mental health calls that we're taking. I know a lot of the mental health calls that we're dealing with, we're struggling with. Once we can get somebody to the hospital, hospitals are struggling with the beds that they have available, the staff that they have available. And it's kind of causing some problem solving on our end and how we want to help facilitate that with the EMS staff and medical staff. So a lot of time on calls because we got to problem solve some of that stuff. I go back to when I first started. It was if there was a mental health issue, you have literally like throw them in the back of an ambulance, and that was it. There's a lot more time that we commit to this and how we handle that and what our investment is. And, the mental health calls that we've been going out, we're spending a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of sweat and tears kind of that go into each one of those individually. I don't like to show up on those anymore. Just kind of say, all right, good luck, and kick the can down the road. So that system doesn't work. So we want to make sure we're putting the time in. So yeah, kind of spit out a whole bunch of random stuff there. So I apologize. Any questions for me? Otherwise, I'll step down.
I'll appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you, Sergeant.
All right. Does anyone else have anything? If not, a motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Corey, seconded by Michelle. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The meeting is ended. Thank you all for attending.